All right, that's it.
Hi, my name is Jackie Tetley, and I'm Senior Designer here at Dreams.
Look at that. Not a scratch on her.
They're good at their job.
I'm going to walk you through some gameplay from our upcoming virtual reality adventure, The
I
Assembly,
can't even remember the last time I was outside.
and give you a closer look into the game we are creating and the world in which it's set.
You really don't get an idea of its size from out here.
Oh, for God's sake.
I thought you'd have more of a stomach for this stuff. What with your experiments?
Look, my work's as humane as I can make it. But there are limits. Why
The Assembly is a story-led, morally ambiguous adventure game. You play as two different protagonists, Assembly scientist Cal Pearson and inductee Madeline Stone. Both Cal and Madeline each have their own perspective and goals in the game.
They're dropping like flies. Must be the heat.
No, I have a theory about this. I think it's the cell towers.
Listen to yourself. Cell towers. You're
The chapter here is the opening section of Madeline's story as she is brought into the Assembly's secret bunker.
Look, tonight's special guest has arrived.
The great Madeline Stone in the flesh. She looks different than how I imagined her.
Your first VR experience can be a little mind-blowing, so it's really important to provide a gentle introduction.
We've got a celebrity here.
What odds are you going to give on her?
On who?
On her? Come on, you always run the book on
In the game's opening, you find yourself strapped to a gurney, like a trolley with wheels,
on Madeline's
which intentionally limits movements to your head.
You think she'll do better? Wait. Oh.
We found this eases you into the virtual world and allows you to really soak up the surroundings.
Shut up. I've read
So what is the Assembly?
professional regard.
The Assembly is an organisation of scientists who operate in total secrecy. They're wholly dedicated to progress for the sake of progress.
Don't you?
Without the interference of the rest of the world, they can achieve this even by morally questionable means. The Assembly operates in a bunker in an unspecified area of the Nevada desert.
All Gamma level initiates on level D, please lock your terminals and exit. The trials are about to begin.
Built originally as a nuclear shelter, the facility has been upgraded with state-of-the-art equipment, but with sections still in need of maintenance.
Being able to talk about what you...
As it's a VR experience, this has changed the scale we have built the world in. Normally in a game, environments would be larger than in real life, but in virtual reality, the world and objects populating it are scaled realistically.
I wouldn't tell anyone about this place. I didn't say anything. Just a work term.
Madeline sees the group as the only way to progress her research, which has reached a dead end following a sequence of tragic
Let's
events.
just get Dr. Stone to her cell.
While Madeline has agreed to their help, she was not expecting to be abducted by the Assembly who, in the name of secrecy and compliance, proceeds to induct her through a sequence of trials.
I didn't defend 2 PhDs to push a gurney around.
Means we don't have to keep too many knuckle draggers around the place.
You know, some of my best friends are knuckle draggers.
Oh my God. How long has she been awake?
This chapter is one of the early trials Madeline faces in the game.
Jesus! Enough theatrics.
A murder has been committed, and you must find the 2 killers. Seek out falsehoods among the victim's acquaintances, then see that justice is done. Jesus, who writes this shit?
The trials are designed to test the abilities of new inductees, and this has given us a great deal of variety to play with in terms of gameplay mechanics.
Gotta say, I'm curious how you'll do. Look, off the record about this task,
From logic puzzles to more complex dilemmas and dealing with nerve-wracking heights, all of which we found become much more immersive using VR.
first grab the 2 murder weapons. When you know who one of the killers is, you use a dagger on their dummy to,
See that justice is done.
you got it.
So I use the daggers to pick who's guilty. Very direct.
This particular trial tasks Madeline with a spin on the whodunit challenge. To find the 2 murderers who killed the scientist, she must find clues by exploring the environment and then, to identify the culprits, put a knife in their backs.
I'd never kill him. After all, medicine is just applied science. I mean, it is annoying how they seem to change the rules every single year, but...
In VR, however, you're no longer limited to exploring and looking around as you would in a first-person game. You can lean in closer, look around corners, even look under things.
An awful lot of medication in this bag.
Not only has this changed what we can do with the gameplay, we've also changed how we implement art in the game. If players can lean in, then textures on the models need to be more detailed than ever before, and places you could never look with a normal camera need to be fully rendered. In many ways, the whole world needs to be much more realistic.
A recording of an interview with the property magnate. This looks like some photos of the politician, the daggers, and the murder scene.
One of the things you may have noticed is that Madeline walks slower than you would expect from a traditional first-person game. What we have found in VR is that the player is much more comfortable walking at a realistic speed rather than running at an exaggerated pace. This furthers the player's level of immersion, helping them to really believe they are present in the world. We don't want to give away any spoilers, so I'm going to skip this sequence and move along to one of Cal's chapters. Cal's chapters are different, set within the laboratory-like confines of the assembly, whereas Madeline's are created by the organisation, often to dramatic effect. The chapters contrast with Madeline's, not just from a gameplay perspective, but also story and tone. As the story progresses, Cal delves into the darker side of the assembly, determining the best, most sane course of action is to escape with evidence of their experiments in order to prevent a global disaster.
Hello, Lab 12.
Christ, you took your time. How's my avian sample doing?
Hey, Anton, good timing. I've got to talk to you.
A large part of Cal's chapters focuses on exploration and discovery. What we found players want to do in VR is look around, explore. Even something as mundane as sticking your head in a cupboard can become a jaw-dropping experience in VR. We've aimed to make this as central to the game as possible, from the core gameplay to interesting distractions, maybe even the odd Easter egg too.
R9 avian sample cells collected from the... Oh, shit. Right outside the bunker. Anton, you idiot, don't tell me you're mixed up in this too.
Chapters also include a number of features that are designed with VR in mind. The 3D microscope, where you lean in and rotate a virus.
Yeah, there it is. Cassius D. Life? You're about to turn your...
And the decontamination bath. It's astonishing how subtle things like particle effects and smoke become hugely impactful when you experience them in VR.
If I screw up, it'll definitely go viral.
This has just been a small glimpse into the assembly and its world. Over the months ahead, we'll be sharing some of the moral choices facing players within the game, some more of the trials, and features designed specifically for virtual reality. As always, if you'd like to ask us any questions directly, you can reach us on Facebook, Twitter, or our forum on Reddit.